Georgia have a problem with players recklessly driving? Let's talk about it. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on the step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If that's what you're into, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and leave me a comment below. Here's a stat for you. Since January 2023, the University of Georgia's football team has won 24 games. Also in that time, the University of Georgia has seen 25 players arrested for reckless driving. Why is this important? There are a number of reasons this is important, but why it is important at Georgia is January 2023, right after winning a second straight national championship, was when Devin Willock and Chandler LaCroix died while racing cars with other Georgia football players. It is particularly upsetting to know that this is going on there because it has had fatal consequences. Every single car is fast. EVs are fastest. Every single car is fast. EVs are fastest. You can get hurt doing something stupid. You want to have a track day, go to the track, wear a helmet, get a 6-point harness. And even then, we can't guarantee your safety. I'm a Formula One fan. Love that. Lewis Hamilton took pole in a sprint shootout, which don't mean nothing to nobody but me because it's the sprint. But I need to see that man in a fast Ferrari, all right? I need to see that man get the 8th championship that was denied him in 2021. And it'd be cool to see him do it for the Scuderia. Now, that said, Lewis Hamilton ended up on his head a few years back, and had the Halo system not been in place, maybe we're not talking about Lewis Hamilton being alive today. It is a sport that demands reflexes that are superhuman. It is a sport where cars are doing 210 down the straight, even in that nasty sounding V6 hybrid. I hate that thing, man. It sounds so nasty on television. They do something about this for 2026. I know you're not going back to the V10s, but you could do something about this. I am not, how do I put this so that it don't sound like what it's going to sound like? I am not without some skill behind the wheel in a simulator. I can drive fast cars fastly on Gran Turismo F124. I'm particularly interested in Gran Turismo because the physics are better and there's a better variety of cars. And frankly, an F1 car is less a car and more like a jet that is just sucked to the ground. Those things are amazing. But I can throw down a lap time. I'm not doing that in my MR2. I'm not doing that in my Royal Enfield. And I don't know why Nitro Togo seems to want to do this, among others, right? You had dudes miss games last year. Trevor Etienne missed the opening game because he was pinched for this. This has been a thing that happens. And for Nitro Togo to be one of these guys, you're a wide receiver. What is the one thing that Georgia needs in the 2025 season? Wide receivers. Dudes that can catch the football. Garbage at catching the football last year. It was one of the worst Power 4 wide receiving corps in the country, and still they won the SEC championship. Imagine if y'all were good, would y'all have won a third national championship since Kirby Smart got there? It's kind of wild to me that this is still something he has to deal with. Now, I get it. There's only so many things you can do to players, especially now. You can try to find them, and he thought that would curtail some of the speeding. There's fines in place with their NIL deals if they're caught speeding. It doesn't seem to be doing much because that's about 250 days ago, and look at what we're talking about in March. Seems like as soon as these dudes get a little bit of time to themselves, this is what they're doing. Now, I also understand that from folks that live in Athens, there feels like there's conspiracy afoot. They got them quotas they got to meet up there in Athens. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you lived in a small town or you've driven through a small town where we might call those speed traps, you understand, right? But a track hawk doing 110 is a track hawk doing 110. You know what I mean? Like, that's not doing 60 in a 45. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's different. There's levels to this. I understand. Now, breaking the law is also breaking the law. There are consequences to come with breaking the law. And one of those consequences is that people write about you and it ends up in the news. And then your mama got to read that. My favorite way of looking at this is How are you going to find the pressure point that forces this to stop? Because apparently it isn't enough money, if it is, and playing time apparently doesn't do much because, well, they seem to be fine with this. Because I don't know that I would be willing to no, I don't. It's not that I don't know. I know I would not be willing to risk my future on doing something stupid. I like my job too much to do something like that, right? Like it is a privilege to be in front of this microphone talking. It's a privilege to wear a Georgia football uniform and play wide receiver, especially at a program that ain't renowned for having no wide receivers. Matter of fact, my favorite stat about the wide receiving core at Georgia is they have yet to have a 1,000-yard receiver. I don't know how that happens. George Pickens comes through there. Brock Bowers comes through there. A.J. Green comes through there. But they are just not going to throw the ball all over the yard, even when they got a Carson Beck who goes for 3,700 plus. Even when they've got a Connor Stockton that can throw a football all over the yard. Even when they had a Stetson Bennett that won them 2 national championships, they were always going to spread the ball about, and they're never going to be more dependent on one player or another. I thought Dominic Lovett would be that guy. I thought Dylan Bell would be that guy. It hadn't turned out to be. Maybe it's Zachariah Branch. That's where I'm going to put my hopes in the wide receiving core for the University of Georgia right now. But, man, it's tough to look at this and continue to say, y'all had someone pass. Y'all had someone pass because of this behavior. This is a good reason to root it out. This is a good reason for dudes in the locker room to be like, so what are we doing with these keys, man? You know, Dami Yaves. You know, I don't understand. We got to do something about that if you are a Georgia football player, because I would be tired of seeing these headlines. I'd be tired of what people have to say about me in front of a microphone, what they have to say about my program. Is it going to prevent Georgia from being competitive? No, we saw that last year. We don't need to make that mistake again. It doesn't seem to matter to the football that they play on the field. It does seem to matter during the offseason when there's not that much to talk about, when we're really into the NFL draft, and when people are scraping the bottom of the barrel for any bit of information about college football. That is the time to be at your quietest. Like, it used to be a running joke, and I do mean a joke, not a good one, but a running joke, that if somebody didn't get into trouble during the offseason, is it really the offseason? Is Georgia got something in common with Urban Meyer's Florida Gators? That's what you got to do. That's what you got to deal with now. That's where you're at. I find that part of this to be the most frustrating if I'm a Georgia football player because, well, yeah, Aaron Hernandez was on that team, among others. Do you really want people to put that next to you? Do something about it. Clean it up.